What's up?
Oh my gosh, we just had another baby.
Another baby girl. This is that story. Okay, start it off.
When I was 36 weeks pregnant, some labor signs appeared. And you cannot give birth at my birthing center unless you are 37 weeks. And so naturally, I was freaking out.
Panic.
Absolutely freaking out because number one, I didn't want to have a preterm baby, and then number two, I didn't want to give birth at a regular hospital. Like, I know people have positive experiences there, but it was just not what I wanted to have. So I was able to rein it in. I grasped the Lord's peace, and guess what? I made it to 40 weeks.
Even past 40. Yeah.
So on my actual due date, I was starting to have contractions, and I was so excited, and more stuff was happening, but then it all just like stopped, and I was like, what the heck? What is this? I don't want to go late, because again, you won't be able to give birth at the birthing center. So just stress after stress, and I was like, I don't need to stress about all this stuff. So we made it through the whole day to the 20th, and on the 20th, I started walking around Target, and the contractions were getting strong enough to where I had to stop in my tracks and breathe. And I was like, this is interesting, because that's normally when you're much further along. And so that was going on for the morning, but then another big chunk where nothing was happening. So I was like, this is just false labor. Vince and Maya come home from school. He goes upstairs to take a phone call. I'm sitting at the table with her, just breathing. But in between, I felt fine. And they talk about how like it's time to go in when in between the contractions you don't feel fine. So Vince comes downstairs after his 45-minute call thinking that everything was fine.
And the first thing I said is, how are you doing? And you said, not very good. And I was like, okay, get your stuff, let's get in the car.
But I think I was lying to myself because I felt like not good, but at the same time I was like, no, but I'm good. Like, we're probably not gonna be giving birth till like a few more days.
Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want this baby to be born at our home, as lovely as it is. Let's, make the necessary phone calls. And you kept trying to talk me out of it.
Yeah, I really was trying to tell him, like, no, like, for real, like, let's just stay here.
I don't want everybody to come here and then you get sent back home and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is it. It's time to go.
So he's like, just call the midwife and just see what she says. So I'm on the phone with the midwife. She's like, you could just come in for an hour. We'll just check you out. While I'm on the phone with her, Maya's pooping on the toilet, which almost never happens.
Parenting win.
And she was like, then she can hear me on the phone. She's like, no, who's gonna be with me? Don't leave me alone. I'm like, what is going on right now? Everything needs to calm down. And it's all 5 minutes before her bedtime. So
yes, we call the necessary people. Our friends come over to watch Maya. The babysitter comes over to be with her.
And we're out.
We arrive at the birthing center. They check you in. She hasn't really progressed as much, so they're like, let's take a walk outside. So her doula was out of town.
Yeah. So I had to send the backup one.
The backup doula shows up, so the three of us go for a walk. The area where the birthing center is very nice. The area surrounding it is just an urban environment. It's just not super nice. Like, So we go outside to walk, and first of all, there's a massive rock concert happening. It's super loud. All you hear is just drums and cymbals banging.
Yeah, not good.
People are walking up to us, approaching us, asking for money on the street while she's in the middle of contractions.
Yeah.
Our doula handled that just super well. We're walking around, and then after an hour, we go back inside for her to get checked again. And she's progressed a little bit more.
Yeah. So we go into this room. I just really channel it in, get very focused, and progress even more. And then they decide to move us to a birthing room, and that's where it all went down.
Yeah. You really wanted to labor in the tub, so we fill up the tub. You were probably in there for maybe an hour and a half maybe. You hit a certain point, and I just remember you had a blindfold on to kind of keep her in the right headspace, and you were just like, I have to get out.
Yeah, I was like, I have to go to the bathroom right now, because I did not want to poop in the tub.
Yes. So we did that a lot, in and out of the tub, and then you were like, I can't be in the tub anymore. I think it's causing me to not progress as much as I want to.
I was so ready for her to come out, so every contraction I was bearing down, trying to get her to go down, and it just felt like forever, and it didn't feel like anything was happening. I could tell that she was still up in there, and I was like, I swear it's 7 a.m. And I think, I don't know, it was probably 1 o'clock by then.
No, well, yeah, maybe 3 hours had passed.
It just felt like so long. So basically, she was head down, but her feet were on this side and they should have been on this side. So apparently it was like making it a little bit difficult for me.
And your water hadn't broken.
And my water hadn't broken, which I had prayed for. I prayed that it wouldn't break at all or that it would break right at the end because of some different things in the pregnancy. And yeah, it hadn't broken.
So yeah, it's probably about, I don't know, midnight-ish, and they're like, hey, there's some things we could try to help you progress in labor. There's 2 steps. We could break your water, or we could have you stand up against this wall and have Vince literally push up as you're having contractions onto your belly to try to help, like, maneuver the baby into place.
So he knew I didn't want my water to be broken, at least until the end, because then I would have to get antibiotics, which I didn't want to do. And so he was like, let's try the second thing with the wall.
So she's literally got her back against the wall, and they want us to do this for 10 contractions. She's got one hand on the door, and I'm pushing with all my might, like up into her belly to try to push the baby.
And these contractions are lasting like a minute long. And I'm literally like,
it was the most intense thing I've ever been a part of.
So painful.
Yeah. And I felt bad because I know I'm not causing this pain, but if I'm not pushing hard enough, then I'm not really helping. So I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go all the way.
And same for me, I was so determined. Like when I get my mind focused on something, there's no other way. Like I knew I was gonna have a natural birth, and I knew like I didn't want antibiotics and all this stuff. So when she said this is what I had to do, I was like, just suck it up and get through it.
A straight champion. So we're doing this. The contractions are lasting 1 to 2 minutes. I mean, I'm exhausted because I'm pushing as hard as I can into her, and she's completely exhausted. This goes on for almost an hour.
Then the heavenly voice of my doula, she comes to me. She says, they have told me that it is late enough in the labor that if they break your water, you won't have to get antibiotics. I was like, do it right now.
Break the water.
So I lay down on the bed. I had heard that it could hurt, so I was a little nervous. But literally, she just like popped it with her fingers. It felt amazing.
Yeah.
Like just, it felt like complete relief and just gush.
Yeah.
And then, so TMI, sorry. No, not sorry.
If you're watching this, I mean,
yeah, you already knew what you were getting into. So I was like, relief. But then I feel like 2 minutes later, you know, when the water breaks, it kickstarts even more everything. I was like, I rolled over and I was like, just like so much more pain than even anything else I had experienced prior to this moment. Yeah. But I was excited because I knew this meant that like things were gonna come to an end, because I was so done. I kept saying like, I'm so tired. But throughout the whole thing, I kept saying, I can do this, I can do this.
You would get to a point where you'd be like, I don't think I can do this. And you would stop mid-sentence and be like, no, I can do this. I am doing this. I was so proud.
Yeah. So I roll over and I can just feel internally everything's descending. And so it worked. Like basically they were saying that my amniotic sac was so tight that like it couldn't come down.
Yeah.
She was like, you prayed too hard.
Yeah.
So then I felt her head come, and oh my gosh.
Yep. With Maya, the head came, and then within a minute or two, I felt like the rest of the body followed. With Solana, the head came and just stayed there.
Sat there.
For maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Just roasting and burning and doing all the things.
So funny. Yeah.
I was like, what is happening? Why is it? Ah!
Yeah.
And because she was in the wrong position, I was having back labor, so my back was killing me and my hip, and I was just, my feet felt like they were losing all circulation.
Yeah.
But then finally, like, she started to descend, and I could just feel it, and it just, when she came out, I was like, ah! And another thing, I had been praying that I would not tear. And they said that the burning, like, I was listening to my body, and so I wasn't pushing in that moment, and I didn't tear.
Yeah, that was amazing. From the outside, being a spectator and participant as much as I could, I mean, it was the most intense thing I've ever been a part of. Far more intense than Maya's birth, and very intimate as well. We were able to work together as a team, and that's what I love about being at the birth center. Like, at a hospital or probably in a different environment, I would not have been able to be as involved in the labor process, but this was such a bonding moment. I feel like we've been through like the fire and been through war together.
Yeah. So one moment that really stuck out to me was like, normally when you're that far into labor, you can't talk. And it reached a point where I was like, she's not moving down. And I just started praying. And I was like, God, please help me. Please let her come out now. And I was just going in. And even as I was praying, I was like, I shouldn't be able to talk like this right now.
Yeah.
How am I even doing this? And I just knew it was the Lord, because like we had been praying that this birth would be very intimate with God and just supernatural, and it truly was.
And the thing that kind of blew my mind is no matter how much pain you were in or what the circumstances were, you kept your sense of humor. Like you were being funny, you were being sassy, you were saying all these things, you were like talking to Solana, and it was just like, I couldn't believe that you were able to have that mindset.
Yeah, same.
And that was just amazing. Yeah. Shout out to the team at Best Start, Arena and Amanda, the midwives who helped deliver the baby, and for Tennessee, our backup doula, who just pitched in and was amazing throughout the whole process. All in all, Solana Ray Freeman was 8 pounds, 4 ounces, and 20 inches long. And we've just been so blessed to recover here at home and to enjoy our life as a family before. Thanks for watching.